worries, we're not getting started for a few minutes. We got a chair stream with Mark. There you are.
Ooh, eating dinner. Okay.
Yeah, somebody's hungry.
So I guess we'll talk about Michael while he's gone.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick. Rivers. Oh, Twinkie 302. Who is this? Person knows me. Real life.
Mr.
In
Right.
real life.
Mr.
That's right. Oh.
Proper.
Yeah.
Proper.
It's the guys that play Adventures League up at Dig.
Mark, I think tonight also we were going to talk about why we named our channel Dungeon Class.
Yep, sounds great.
Yeah, I think one of the things that someone asked us.
Oh yeah.
The crowd begging for that knowledge.
our followers are begging for that info.
Oh yeah.
All right, I just need to bring everybody up on. I may not need it on chat. I think I can see everybody there.
All right. 6:58. Got a couple people coming in.
Hey, you have something feeding back on there. I mean, like, do you have something turned up? Because I heard a.
Here, Echo. Sorry, hold on. Got it.
Yeah, I just heard a echo there.
Yep. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I have to get our sound guys over there. Sound engineers.
Well, Twinkie is. They were playing while they're watching this, so we might as well go ahead and give them the secret. Just tell us what the bad guys are, and we'll give the stats out so that the heroes can easily defeat them.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's right. Those guys are vulnerable to this and this and.
Use force damage. You must use force damage.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to get those guys. We don't want to get Josh and company mad at us. It probably wouldn't be good.
Yeah, Rivers, we got that thing sent out. You should be getting it soon.
He's seen me slightly dead and alive. Yeah, dead and yeah, it's true. I am happier when I'm talking about D&D.
Yeah, that's what it does.
Yep. All right. Well, it is the bewitching hour here. 7 o'clock, straight up 7. So welcome everybody. We are in Dungeon Class. I'm Mark, and this guy is.
I think I'm Gonzo.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think tonight I am. Something?
Yeah.
You have an intro?
Yeah, I just went over. So there's like a delay about 10, 20 seconds there, Gonzo, just so you know that's how this thing rolls. So anything you say, that way if you swear, I can dump it real fast. That's why we have that built in.
Taking you so long.
Yeah, because I know how you like to drop the expletives, but we can't do that. Yeah. Remember, it's a family situation here, so we're not doing that.
Well, just keep reminding me.
Okay, I will. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We one of the things we mentioned, we wanted to talk a little bit about. Well, first we wanted to talk about our video. I think a little bit. Gonzo, you said you wanted to discuss that a little bit, maybe in length, possibly. So.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback from Monday's video, which was assistant to the dungeon master.
Yes.
Or I think you had assistant dungeon master, and we changed it to assistant tutor dungeon master using the office
Yeah,
joke.
right.
Anyone who's seen that um, gets the joke, but we've had a lot of feedback on that, and it's been a good topic for us to talk about because it was something that we've used for quite a while, and I guess that's a big blessing we've had, if no other lack of better word, to have some help when you're deep.
Well, we could probably talk a little bit about how we saw that evolve in our group. So, if I remember right, your wife was not necessarily down with D&D originally. Didn't know much about it. Didn't necessarily want to play per se. But how did she get involved?
Yeah, well, that was the thing is we were all ready to go. The kids were ready to play. I started the campaign. We started to get going, and after about the third or fourth session, it moved. We were in one room, and it moved into the bigger room, the kitchen
Mm-hmm.
room, the dining, and she was definitely always having food out for us and
Yeah.
whatnot, and hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw that there was a lot that I was doing as the dungeon master to keep track of, and her, she's great at. She's very organized and a lot more than I am. So she's like, "Here, let me do that. Get that out here, and I'll do initiative. And why don't I handle the bad guys and you do that? And then we started to see, man, this is a makes things so much smoother with just another pair of hands.
Right.
So, and then that evolved over time to where now she's the dungeon master, and in our current
Yeah.
campaign, we're just her, and she's got the overarching story, and we're rotating in and out, but she's the dungeon master, which is pretty neat because you would have told her that a couple years ago that she'd be doing that. I don't think that.
No, no. Yeah. If people don't know Gonzo's wife, she's not super excited about being the center of attention per se. And as a DM, you kind of are by the way it is. But no, she's doing great. She really. You have to be kind of proud, Gonzo. I mean, you've gone from teaching your family all how to play. Now they're, if we can just get Kaylee to do it.
Yeah, yeah. One of them's running well, two of them are running different
Yeah.
campaigns with their colleges, and my wife's running ours, so I can kick back and play and make dungeon class videos. So, yeah, it's been pretty neat. But that's one of the things that I feel that if you play this game long enough, not everybody will, but I think a lot of people want to strike out at that DMing experience.
Right.
And I think once you've done it, it's hard to go back sometimes. Like it's a lot of pressure and there's a lot to think
Right.
about, but it's so much fun to be, interacting so much. It's a lot more involved than just the player. Because a lot of times as a player, you're waiting to react to something or you're waiting for your turn. Whereas a dungeon master, there's something going on, you know.
Right.
And so people that are more into that fast paced, ready to go, are definitely built for DMing.
So who can we? So I'm just sitting here thinking that like I know someone that got into World of Warcraft just so she could spend time with her family because they were all playing. Um, I I mean, what do you think? This is maybe an avenue for if there's any wives or any people who don't play hanging on there that just they wow, those people look like they're having a good time. This is an opportunity if you get involved. You don't have to necessarily play. You don't have to DM, but you can still help, right?
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
would they be doing?
Well, that's what some of the things we mentioned in our video were like keeping track of initiative, like taking care of maybe running the bad guys. And if you have someone that's willing to run bad guys like the heroes run their heroes, that makes every encounter so deadly. Because a dungeon master is very difficult. We're supposed to do that, but it is very difficult to run 5 or 6 goblins and have each one strategically attack the other group when you're also responding to all of things coming at you as a dungeon master. Hey, does this spell work? And did I make this check? And
Right.
uh, did I swing off the vine and try to trip them with a sweeping kick? Did that work? And you're responding to all that. Probably in the back of your mind is my goblin wouldn't head straight to them. They would actually try to duck behind the table and do a sneak attack.
Mm-hmm.
And they sneak attack bonus, stuff like that. Whereas if someone is running these goblins, or somebody's running the bad guys as players would run them, it's a lot more difficult because then they can concentrate on what their abilities are as
Right.
monsters and then how effective in combat, just like we would as
Yeah.
players.
No, I agree.
That
Yeah, I find myself as DM sometimes I'm thinking ahead to the next thing, and it's like, yeah, so it's like, all
yeah,
right, this guy's going to die soon, and then I can go on to the next thing. But yeah, it makes the fights that much more compelling. You have a real person behind them, actively trying to kill him.
right. If the party splits, then your head explodes.
Yeah, yeah, oh
So
yeah, yeah. That should,
what do I see? What do I see? And you're like, hold on.
yeah,
So
that would be rough.
yeah, it definitely there. They can help keep track of the map, the terrain, the if you're using just a hex, what do you call it, the dry erase board, and you have the minis and exactly where the minis are. They can definitely help with that quite a bit. I think that that's
Right.
a big help too. You're not reaching over the table and trying to write stuff and draw the next room and all that. Someone else is doing that for you while you're prepping the stats for the bad guys that you're going to hand over to them so you can, again, know what's coming up in the next room, where the secret door is, all of these things. What's the riddle that the magic mouth is going to speak? There's so many things going on. Another thing that we really like is having somebody help with the music or the
Smoke machine.
fog machine, music,
Right.
lighting, setting,
Right.
just the setting in general. Music is big for me. It's always been big, and for you too. And I love that when I can actually take a soundtrack and then have a song ready for combat versus a tavern background versus you're out in the middle of the woods at night background or something. That takes a lot of prep,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really cool. You're able to do that because you can kind of transition, and it keeps again. For the most part, it gets people more engaged, which means they're having more fun.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
uh, I don't know. I think just about anything you do, they could do or help
Right.
with. Even helping you tell the story, helping with the voices, helping run some of the NPCs and be the voice for that NPC. So it's not just you and your three voices that you've mastered. Maybe they've got a range of things they can do, and
Right.
uh, that helps flesh things out a little better. And again, become more engaging.
Yeah, I was reading some of the comments on the Facebook groups that I posted this to, and it was interesting some of the comments they were making. A lot of positive, overwhelmingly positive response. A lot of people have done this where they have had an assistant DM, but more commonly, they've divvied up the some of the roles to the players. And one of them I thought was interesting was to harness and rein in the rules lawyer. So
Oh,
put
yeah.
him to work. You're like, oh, all right, Mr. Rules Lawyer. You be the guy we're going to look at and say, is this right? And I'm like, that was pretty slick.
Rewarding that we get it right at the
Yeah,
table instead of because normally we encourage you just make a decision as a dungeon master, move on, look it up later. But if there's a ruling that's pretty important, yeah, that's perfect to have them ready and on the go. For one, they may just know it off the top of their head, and for two, you can say, "Can you check on this for me?" Maybe something's coming up, and you could be like, "What's the range on this spell?" Not that you need to know why, but just something that they could help you with for sure.
right. Yeah, no, I thought that was a great idea because it's like, a lot of times, well, sometimes I think the rules lawyer people, they like to assert their knowledge, and why not rein in some of that and tap into it? I'm like, hey, there are players at my table that have memorized all the books, and I have not memorized all the books. I have a general remember. I think I remember it that way, but I don't remember it word for word. So hey, why not use that? So I think that's great. So
Yeah,
so we got Valentine's Day coming up.
yeah, you better be prepared for Valentine's. I mean, that's like I told my kids and everybody. They get mad at me because I don't remember any of their
Yeah.
birthdays. Today's a special day. I did know it's my firstborn's birthday.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's 24, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's in
Yeah.
chat right now.
Oh, he's in the chat. Well, then, happy birthday, Logan.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everybody sing happy birthday to him.
Rarely do I that or any of the other kids' birthdays. The only two dates I have to remember, well, three, I guess, is Valentine's Day, which is hard to forget because you're reminded everywhere you go. Um, my wife's birthday and our anniversary.
Okay,
So those, but yeah,
that's important.
my wife's anniversary, and then she just remembers everything else. All the, everyone else's birthday, she tells me, and then I sign the card and whatnot. But
Including the fact that it's actually Logan's 23rd birthday, I see in the chat.
well, that's what I mean. I don't know. We all have roles, just like around our dungeon masters table. And mine is not PR. Mine is not dates. Um, hey, I'm just giving him. He's so mature. I just thought he was 24.
Oh, good,
I didn't realize he was 23.
good
So.
save, good save. That's good. That was good.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Yeah.
I didn't want to pre-age him, but
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
speaking of Fallon, I guess there was a commotion this week.
Yeah.
On the interweb.
On the interwebs. Yeah. What happened? There was something with the UA, huh?
Yeah. Do you have that text? Well, there was an Unearthed Arcana that was kind of leaked out. I don't think it was officially released. Right. I don't. But it was leaked out. But however it came out, it was as quick as it came out. There was a entourage of negative feedback on a certain love cleric that they created. They said it was. They renamed it many names, like the Bill Cosby of clerics, the a little too rapey, whatnot. Some of the spells that the way the character was designed tricked people for sure. So it set people off, and that feedback went right back to Wizards of the Coast, and it was quickly removed. The leak or whatever was gone, so it's hard to find it. Someone screenshotted it.
Right.
We did get a screenshot of one of the spells that a lot of people were freaking out about.
Yeah. So what was that spell that they were all that we probably should talk about? What's at the heart of all this? What's so cringy?
So it was a channel divinity, and it's a second level love domain feature.
Mm-hmm.
It's called impulsive infatuation.
Mm-hmm.
Just to you, tell me where you can see the issue.
Mm-hmm.
You can use divinity to overwhelm a creature with a flash of short-lived but intense admiration for you, driving them to rash action in your defense. Now, it is definitely designed for combat, but using the hey, they like you, so because they like you so much, they're going to defend you.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people pick that right away is wait a minute. And then it goes on, it says, as an action, you present your holy symbol. Who knows what that would be for a love domain player?
I don't know. That's kind of. I'm sure. I'm sure it's a heart.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then, then you choose one creature you can see within 30 feet. That creature has to make a Wisdom saving throw, and a creature can choose to fail this saving throw if it wishes. That's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
If you're saying, yeah, I cast my channel divinity on this bartender to see if she'll help me,
right,
and then say, oh, I'll be glad to help you. I don't know how that works.
No,
yeah. Anyway, unless it's maybe a teammate, but
yeah.
Anyway, and then it says on a success, the creature on a success the creature is unaffected, but on a failure, the creature is charmed by you until the start of your next turn. Well, that's like the charm person spell. Must immediately use its reaction to make a weapon attack against a target you designate. If there are no valid targets, it uses its reaction to admire you.
Oh.
So if you're not using it in combat, you can basically use it to make someone fail a saving, and now they admire you or intensely as the beginning of that save, are attracted to you. Set a lot of people off. And you and I have talked about it, and I looked at the chat, and it went kind of nuts. Now, I think of reaction as everything in the internet is an overreaction.
Sure. Yeah.
But at the same time, I could see where the problem could be.
Right.
So,
well, in this hashtag Me Too scenario, this Harvey Weinstein era, Bill Cosby era, with that backdrop context, and if you want to use the word compel and things like that in there,
yeah, somebody's will.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my birthday boy Logan today I actually was talking to him about it. And we were talking about, part of the problem with this may be that it's called a love domain.
Yeah.
And it's equating love to the physical physical part of it's. People were definitely saying like, why is it called love? Yet you're taking someone's will away when love is freely given, right? So it was more of a yeah, it was definitely not, it's not freely given if you're putting someone under a charm person spell basically, and they now admire you and like you and are attracted to you or whatever you want to picture this. And there's people at certain tables at certain places that would use it in that
Right.
way. You hear the horror stories online. I've never dealt with that.
No.
And Logan, he had a good point. He says, around our table, we're all friends and family. We don't play our characters in that way,
Right.
where there's like interpersonal relationships in D&D, in the D&D
Right.
world, within our world, other than if a couple are married or something,
Mhm.
like the couple plays with us. Or if my wife and I were playing and we decided our characters were married in the game.
Right.
But it'd be weird for a brother and sister to say, yeah, our two characters are interested in each other. It just doesn't work
Right.
around our table.
Yeah.
But a table full of, young 20-something-year-olds and whatever, and they decide they want to be this and that and whatever, I could see where there'd be, I could see where the bard would be a big pain in the rear.
Well, so that leads us a good question. So that kind of brings up a question. So, what do you think about relationships in game? I mean, having a relationship in a game. I mean, is there a place for that? I mean, can you see that making sense, or what do you think?
I hope the chat responds on this a little bit. I have an opinion,
Okay.
and I feel that there's not a good movie that I've watched that doesn't have a hint of romance in it. There's very few.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite movies. We're just rewatching the extended versions right now on Blu-ray. Um, we just got through the Two Towers, but there's a underlying theme there of Aragon and his love for Arwen, who is an elf, and because she's supposed to live for immortality or whatever, and if she stays with him, she'll basically lose that.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, at the movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this 20-year-old movie, but at the end of the movie, she gives up her immortality to stay with him.
Yeah, I didn't
So,
see that coming.
I mean, it's a great love story, and he carries, her. She gave that symbol of her giving that up to him
Right.
is around her neck in the form of that jewel. I forgot what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Buying them and wearing them at the time. I remember, but
Right.
I mean, it's a great love story, and there's not a very, very, very. It's not very often that good stories are told without some kind of romance or love story behind it.
Well,
Having said
yeah.
D&D, I think it could be a little trickier.
Okay. All right. So
Like,
let's back up a little bit. So I think you bring up a good point. Nearly every story, I'm reading Dragonlance again, as you said, I've said before, and there's a lot of love stories in
yeah,
there. There's
yeah,
there's forbidden love a couple different places. There's and that's I think it's tension. Bringing tension in a game it
right.
is
And
the
so,
thing. So you can do tension in all different ways. One way we typically see in D&D tension created by um, the threat of death, the threat of dying, the threat of oh my gosh, this whole place is caving in on us, or it's combat, and there's all different ways of tension. Yeah. So, but romance is yet another way, and that's one that we haven't really tapped into that much. Now, if you call the bard trying to seduce somebody, we've had a little bit of that, but so
yeah,
I can see that being a thing.
right. And we've had an amulet that actually performed a sex change on a character in our
Yes, that was interesting. Yeah.
yeah, male turned into a
Hmm.
female, and he had to get it reversed for a while.
Yeah.
And then what did he do? He took that amulet and put it on another guy, his best friend.
Yeah, that created some set of tension, 'cause that was
It was,
quite comical because they had to walk around and them acting as women was precious. That was good stuff.
yeah, they took it in stride and they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely a viable piece of Dungeons and Dragons. It's a story, and a story should have that in there, or could, and it should be good. But I think that line, just like in movies, that line can be crossed really quick.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think that's where you have to be careful. Now, the closer you know the people that you're playing
Right.
with, um, that's the key. I think that the more you're able to explore those avenues in a safe way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're people that you're just acquaintances with, or maybe you're at a convention and you just met them for the first time, I think that should not be a big part of anything. Now, a long running campaign with a group of players that play a long time, they can work it out and it should be fine. But there's definitely lines that get crossed. Now, there's horror stories to all of this. And we don't need to get into all that, but I know that happens. I know that there's certain groups that have met people that take it way too far and live out certain fantasies
Yeah.
that they have a place to do it, they do it,
Right.
and it's
Well, and I think we have to say, ultimately, we're not saying that you shouldn't have it in your game if that's your thing.
I think it's
And we could definitely see it has a place for it. But as always, we always operate on the caveat that whatever you know your group. You should know your group that you play with, and hopefully they're family or friends, and you kind of know how they roll and whether they're comfortable with that. But yeah, playing with strangers that's a dicey thing, and you kind of have to know your group if you're going to do that. And I agree with some of the chat. They're saying you can get out of hand quickly. It can be a problem. I like the idea of NPCs. That makes sense. NPCs having romance. That's a safer bet for sure.
yeah.
But it's just an interesting idea, and I think this love domain thing kind of really brings that out and that idea. I love the idea actually of the love domain. I mean, I really think that's an interesting way to go. I also going further though down that. So I
Yeah.
have more of that, and so here are the spells, and the spells are kind of. So this is a list of the spells that they had, and I was like, I don't know. All right, so first level you had charm spell heroism. So charm person first level, and that one you just talked about was definitely like a charm person.
Yeah.
Third level enthrall, warding
Yeah.
bond. Fifth level beacon of hope, hypnotic pattern. Seventh
Okay.
aura of purity, confusion. Ninth
Oh
level
my.
greater restoration, hold monster. So it goes beyond even just that one thing. It's like, how many charms do you have to have? I mean, the whole theme is like, I don't know. I don't know.
And here's the other thing. I feel that again, I go back to the name of it being called the love domain. Love isn't always all about
Right.
the physical part of
Yeah.
attraction. Love can also be because you care for someone so much, you're going to put yourself in line of fire because you care for somebody so much, you're going to do things for them. You're going to be selfless about who you are.
Right. So
And
the heading under love domain says love exists in many forms: compassion, infatuation, friendly affection, and passionate love as a few facets. Whatever form these feelings take, the gods of love deepen the bonds between individuals. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. That's all different aspects of love. But then they hone in.
but then they call date rape powers.
I know. I was like, what? Where? They kind of went off the rails there a little bit. So what happened? Why don't we really talk about how that was pulled? So what was Wizards?
Oh, it all happened really quick, and unfortunately, you and I both have full time lives as with careers and stuff, and I'm not on the internet all the time. I just happened to have seen it come through. I was like, oh, cool, a new UA
Right.
that you and I could talk about.
Yeah.
And so looking into it, all I saw was the negative feedback from different people, especially on Twitter, but just the negative, like, oh, this is terrible, and they're arguing about it and whatnot. And there wasn't a lot of argument for it. It was mostly just everyone agreeing that
Oh
yeah,
my
this is
gosh.
the go. Then I heard from Crawford saying, yeah, we're pulling this. We'll release this when it's
Yeah.
ready. Don't worry. It was that feel. I don't have it in front of me, but he's basically like, no worries. This was
Yeah. It wasn't ready yet. It wasn't supposed to be revealed yet. And so, what do you think? Is that the company
I think
coming in and reining it
action.
back in, or you think that was not supposed to be released yet?
I think it's them changing it up real
Yeah, I do
quick.
too.
I'm really surprised if next week's UA comes out or whenever they decide to release it, and it's still called the Love Domain and it's still set up the same way as what was initially
Right.
leaked out. I'd be real surprised. I don't see that. I see them, and I kind of feel that that's the beauty of the internet.
Yeah.
Look at some or anything like you can if you do a trailer to a movie, you basically can pop it out there and see how the audience responds and say, okay, yeah, we were going to change that anyway.
Right.
And you can quick back and change the animation or whatever like they've done. So I think in today's world, you can get feedback before a product is even finished, and then you can have a better idea of how it's going to do when you finally release it. So now playtesting is playtesting, but
Right.
I mean, they are back to know they can't do it as it is. I'd be real surprised. I mean,
That playtesting didn't even make it to playtesting. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So no, but here's the thing: they've kind of painted themselves in a corner a little bit because they talked about just in time for Valentine's. So now they're going to almost have to release something love oriented by next week,
yeah,
or they look really
right.
funny. It's like, yeah. So anyway, so I think we'll get. I agree. We'll get something, but it'll be hopefully vastly different. Or they're gonna, or there may be torches and things involved at Wizards headquarters if they continue down that path. So, well, it's amazing how quickly they
Yeah,
can turn.
yeah, I just think that I mean that's a we haven't done a video on that yet, but relationships in D&D is a very uh, it's a very touchy subject. You've got to be very careful, and I think you probably can't iterate that enough to especially to new
Mm-hmm.
DMs and new playing is that keep that very low key. Make sure there's boundaries set at the beginning in session 0 before you even start.
Yeah.
You don't want in a game and then have to adjust things then, or if someone's feelings are hurt or whatever. Because the horror stories I've heard, um, yeah, I would be like, "What is this?" I'd get up and walk out too. It's stupid.
So,
It's
should
silly.
we fill out that form and give that to our DM? That big 13-page form that someone was floating around.
No, I mean I think people that can DM are adult enough, no matter what age,
Yeah,
are mature and adult enough to handle the session over there
I agree.
and
No, I think that
make
session
that
zero
happen
is an important part.
without you need them. Fine, if you want to, and again, a lot of it depends on the situation. Again, our history is playing with a group of people we know very
Mm-hmm.
well, but everyone is in that position, and you and I may not be in that position when we travel around and go to conventions and stuff. It may
Yeah,
be, hey, you're sitting down with strangers.
right.
So I think you have to be very careful with that. I think it definitely is a part of it, and it can add tension, like you said.
So maybe I
It
should
makes
have
movies.
my form filled out and hand it to DM if I go to conventions. Tell,
If you're
tell them I'm.
triggered by third or something like that, then so be it. But you know,
Yeah, I get triggered easily. I just need to let them know I get triggered. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's a different scenario, but yeah, you just hopefully a DM has some common sense, and I'm I don't know we're not going to really get into it, but there's been some interesting ideas about how to tell your DM what you should do and shouldn't do, and Gonzo and I are of the mind that just be a responsible dungeon master for crying out loud and don't do stupid stuff. Yeah, use your brain. And yeah, anyway, I think we've touched on that pretty good. So so let's talk
I did.
about why did we start a channel? I don't think we've really talked about that, Gonzo. Like why?
Well, you were going to, yeah. I wanted to actually talk about why we, and we'll probably end up doing a video of this one day, but why we picked Dungeon Class as our channel name. I noticed, and what brought that up to me was someone in the chat says, "Hey, sorry I was late to class."
Mm-hmm,
Although that's kind of a quirky part of it. I don't feel, even though you're a teacher,
mm-hmm,
we thought that was cool that you're used to the classroom setting.
mm-hmm.
It made sense there. Dungeon, obviously, signifying our relation to Dungeons and
Mm-hmm.
Dragons, and meaning that we're going to talk about things to improve the game. Hopefully, edify and improve.
Right,
Our with Dungeons and Dragons. But class not meaning that you and I are the all-knowing, all-father
right.
experts, and everyone taking our wisdom as canon. We're students as much as anyone that watches any of our
Yeah,
videos. At least that's how I feel, and I think when we make our video, I definitely want to convey that this is that the classroom setting is everyone in,
yeah,
you know, per se.
right.
We're in the class with the audience that's watching the videos, because I can't say how much feedback we've gotten on different videos where I've learned something,
Yes,
or well, I've tried this, or how about this, or I've done this in my
right.
game. I'm like, oh, so we're always learning,
Oh
we're
yeah.
always evolving, playing RPG games, and that's to me is the dungeon class.
No,
It's everyone.
I agree. I agree. We're all, and if anything, we're the facilitators of the learning. We just put up the videos. We have the chat. We have this. We have where people can talk and they're just down below in our comments and things and have conversation. We love when we see in chat people having conversations in the chat amongst themselves even, because I know as a, going back to teacher idea, I learn best from other teachers sitting around and talking to other teachers, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't learn from my students. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's not. That's the way I was trained as a teacher, is that I'm supposed to facilitate the learning, and it's not like I'm the big guru pouring all my information in your head like I know everything. No, absolutely not. And I'm not perfect in what I do as a teacher. I am not the perfect in my subject area. I'm an English teacher. I'm not absolutely perfect. I can always do better as a writer or a reader, and that's just me. But I feel like that does translate to what we're doing. We definitely we're not perfect dungeon masters by any means. We've got a little bit of experience that we'd like to share here and there, but we find things from our students, and we'd like to share those as well, and get that word out and start conversations. I love that we can start conversations in our social media, and then there's a big conversation going on. I love that. We
Yeah,
ask a question. Hey, what do you think about this? And then a great conversation ensues. I think that's what it's all about.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you, Mark. I feel like Dungeons and Dragons, maybe more so than a lot of hobbies, because we have other hobbies, both you and I. Some the same, some different. But Dungeons and Dragons is very interactive within the community of people that play, because you learn so much from each person,
Yes.
and it's creative, open-ended creative nature to it. There's such a creative nature to it that one person's story and how they did something can inspire you to be like, I really like that you did there. I like the way you designed that
Yeah.
monster, or what, and then you'll want to use that in yours. It's such a borrow, beg, steal, rip
Oh
off
yeah.
uh, hobby. It really is. It's like, I need an idea. Let me listen to someone's live stream and I'll use their idea because my players have never heard it and it works out perfect. Yet it'll be different than the one you listen to
Right.
because it's still done as a group, and you can take it and then change it a little bit and make it your own. So,
Absolutely. I'll
uh,
be honest with you. I don't know if I should say this or not, but watching Kaylee play Rogue made me want to be a
it
rogue.
means you want to be a rogue.
Well, I played Rogue, but I played Rogue, but the reason I played Rogue for a bit was because I watched all the fun Kaylee was having, and I'm like, she was doing some pretty cool things. So I learned from her that wow, rogues are
Right.
pretty fun. So I mean that's just one little example, but probably shouldn't tell her because that'll go to her head and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way. Just in our group, I would not personally, when I first started playing or replaying after it's been a while, after our break,
Mm-hmm.
when the edition came out and we started getting back into it, I would not have picked a barbarian per se. I just wouldn't have
Right.
until I watched our barbarian just cleave the crap out of everybody in his doing it. I was like, and I like the weakness that I have anger issues.
Yeah.
I have so that changes the game because when you're in a situation where you have to be calculated, quiet, you know, quick thinking, whatever, and he just flips tables over and starts beating people up, and it changes
Right.
it. I liked it. It added to the game. So yeah, I think that, and we'll do this in a video, I'm sure, or at least a quick one. But I think that dungeon class. I want to reiterate that to me means that we are all part of a community of people that are learning from each other and expounding our game through each other's experiences. So we're all in the class together.
I agree. No,
I,
I agree absolutely. No, good stuff. So why did we even start a channel? I mean, why? I think we talked about that maybe last time, or did we? I can't remember if we had conversation or we talked in our video or not.
we talked about the reason. Yeah, I think we did, but
Okay.
yeah, I think mostly we wanted to reiterate the why did we pick dungeon class. I mean, initially we thought, in fact, if you look at one of our very first videos, our old symbol didn't have like a skull with a
Yeah, I had a
graduation.
mortar board on it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, we had the whole school theme in it, but not, but what I didn't want it to be was we're the teachers, you're the student.
Right.
It's set up where someone watches our videos and maybe they get an idea from it. But what I quickly found out was, dude, we're getting so much info and positive feedback, and interesting ways to do things from the chat and from the comments that
Right.
it's definitely a classroom setting for you and I.
Mhm.
We're students as much as anyone else. But
Absolutely. Yeah, someone asked earlier in the chat. They asked about if we were excited about Matt Mercer's book. We talked a little bit about that last time when we talked about. In fact, our first live stream, we talked about Wildmount and our thoughts on that. And so
cool.
basically, it's more content. Just the too long didn't read part is it's basically more content, and we're down with more content. And
Yeah.
that's the long and short of it is anything that gives us another place to
Nothing.
play in. We're definitely down with it. And Matt Mercer, that I can tell you, that Tal'Dorei book is like amazing. Like he puts together an amazing book with a ton of content in it, and it's almost ridiculous how much is in there. And we're expecting that with the Tal'Dorei book because I'm sure it's going to be very. In fact, he's talking like it has some of the stuff in the Tal'Dorei book even because
Similar.
he's going to have the vestiges of diverge or whatever they call it. The vestiges are in there. Some of the artifacts.
The different lands, he kind of gives you little scenarios that you can
Yeah.
use for plot books for each place you go to. So Rivers asked a question. He says, "Do we play modules or homebrew? Or homebrew campaigns?" So go ahead, Mark.
Well, homebrew pretty much for the most part. We do back and forth. It depends. We started with. I think when I started back, it was I think I used a module to kind of get back into it, but then quickly evolved into homebrew. I know you pretty much seem to be mostly homebrew, or you'll take some stuff from modules here and there.
We take, yeah. No, we did go through Curse of Strahd.
Yes.
We're having mostly. We haven't quite finished that, but we did actually go through Curse of Strahd, and that was two. One of the more recent ones we did, but I taken stuff from Isle of Dread, that old expert set module, whatever. I've taken stuff out of. I'm working on one now. I'm not going to tell you, so I don't spoil it for you
Oh
guys. But
man, I thought you were going to tell me. I thought I could get you to tell me right now.
but I think we've done both. In fact, you are very good at doing, and that's in some of our videos too, where some of the people on who plays D&D have said that they like that you do these one-shot modules,
Yeah.
one-shot adventure. There's a Christmas adventure,
Yeah, that's fun.
a Halloween
Yeah.
adventure. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with those too.
Right.
I guess to answer Rivers is we do
Yeah.
both. We do both, and kind of how we do it is we have a campaign that we're involved in as a group, and then to break it up, we just, hey, tonight we're going to be doing, a one shot, or the next two nights we're going to be doing a one shot, which is a module,
Right.
an adventure. So, yeah, I think we've done both. Rivers, what do you do? Mostly, I wonder if he does modules are great for ideas. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so
I mean,
we have a video coming out soon about using modules and walked right into that one. Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
true. I guess.
yeah. We talk about that
I
a
wonder.
little bit. What?
I said I wondered why it sounded familiar to me. That's because we just uh, were working and wrote up and did our video on that.
Yeah, yeah. So we have one coming where we talk about how to use old modules because they're really valuable sources. If you've not found one or seen one, if you want to get them real cheap, they're on Drive Through. You can get they basically fifth edition conversions. We talk about that a little bit in our video. Go to DM's Guild and there's some in there, pretty cheap. You can peruse them there, kind of see way. I like the fact that I think everyone should look at them to see where we were, if anything else, and to use some of that content because you and I've talked about we pull out some of the, as you say, use the bones of something. But use some pieces because there's some really pretty awesome stuff in there. Some of my favorite times is a kid was playing in the modules. And back then we didn't the whole dungeon crawler thing. That was just the way you played. That was the way it was. And we
Yeah.
did modules. I don't know that many people. I don't think they homebrewed that
No, it was
much.
very sandbox open feeling at that point. It was very like, okay, you're in a bar and a mummy breaks in and starts breaking stuff, and here you go. And then once you kill the mummy, you find a note that leads you to someone who needs help somewhere or whatever. kind of like the Star Wars. Help me. Help me.
Well, Rivers says he's been homebrewing for over 30 years. He's been homebrewing before it's cool. That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
that's
a trendsetter, man. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I think as a kid, I don't know that how many people talked about homebrew. We just talked about what you could and couldn't
no
do. It was very rules heavy.
against the Giants, Queen of the Demon
Yeah,
Web Pits. You know.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That
oh gosh, Lost Mines of Fandelver. Well, that's one of the newer ones, but the can't think of the one. Keep on the Borderlands. I think everyone who started in
yeah.
D&D back then, that was the one that came with the starter
Yep,
set. I
yep,
think.
yep.
Lands, and that's where the orcs on the old art look like pig faces
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it was like you go into a room, there's treasure, monster. You go into the next room, there's treasure, there's a monster, there's a trap.
Yep.
Go into it was very, you know,
Everything was locked. You had
like
to pick locks. You had to use a 10-foot pole to bang on the ground for in case there's any traps. And yeah, that's just the way it was. We didn't know any better back then.
no.
Yeah,
It seems it's funny, but when we play now, because of the style being more story told, as players, you learn to not trust anyone.
yeah,
So if someone, oh, please help me, my grandma's stuck in a pond, you're like, oh, right, this is a trap. I mean, it may take you an hour to figure out if your group even wants to go help this poor person.
right, right.
Because you're thinking this has got to be a trap. This is a plot hook. I'm not, you're thinking in those
Yeah,
terms
right.
as a player.
Yeah.
It can't be that easy. Yeah, right.
Well, it's very much DM versus the players. It had that feel.
Back then,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah.
We based video. I guess we shouldn't release it now. We just
Yeah, we pretty much talked about all the ideas. Um,
pause a release day.
yeah,
But
yeah. We really like the story element, the storytelling part of fifth edition, and that it's really kind of they got all that boring stuff out of the way because it really did bog down sometimes, and we got to check for you could. It would take you forever just to go through like one room, because you're just trying to check every nook and cranny, make sure you didn't miss anything, and everything was trapped, everything was locked, and that's just how it was back then. So, but it's nice to not to turn people off of modules. There's a story in there, and there's some great trap ideas that you can use sparingly. I wouldn't use them as heavy as they were back in the day. But yeah, there's some good things. There's some things I miss in those days. Like I felt like poison was more prevalent.
yeah,
Things were trapped and poisoned. But that seemed like
yeah.
a thing. So yeah, as River said, first edition was deadly. Yeah, yeah. Nowadays the lower levels like first and second, I feel like they're like everything can kill you. But back then, man, everything could kill you no matter what your level was. It seems
Right,
so.
right.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. So modules. Another person asked the question.
Use your character sheet. I've lost my strength
Yeah,
21.
yeah, yeah. Well, and that's a good point. Where do we where are some places people can store their character sheets so they don't lose them? I know we have a problem. Everybody has to reprint theirs on
Yeah,
game
but
night.
that's because we have it on a digital form in using D&D Beyond. So because of D&D Beyond, you can create unlimited amount of characters, and it'll keep everything for you. And then you just hit print when you want to print it out, so you can use it as a character
And
sheet.
we are not sponsored by D&D Beyond.
Not
Not
yet,
yet.
not yet. We're not
But we'd like to be, but we're not.
really that site. It really is helpful.
Yeah,
I don't like to give everyone on an iPad or something around the table, but at the same time, it has made it really easy because it does help with the keeping track of spells. What the spells do.
yeah.
That's really big if you're a spellcaster.
Oh gosh, if you're
But
a warlocks or wizards especially, man, keeping track of all those spells, you just tap the spell and it tells you what it does. It
here's I'll show you. Hold on a second.
The spell slots, keeping track of spell slots, it does that for you. A long rest, short rest, healing, all of that. It's good.
The other thing that you can do is what we've done. That's make folders.
Yes.
Let me pull one out. Sorry, share stream.
Yeah.
pulling out, but this is my folder for my bard that I
Oh
made.
yeah.
Larry Elmore art there.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Love that
Yep.
old dragon. But it has all my notes in there. It's got my player character sheet. It's got his spells, and then of course, if you can get spell cards, this is a great thing too because then you can, it's got all the information for each spell
Right.
right on there. That's another way, and we put them in these. This is really cheap. Like I got these white binders for 50 cents at Goodwill, and then you can get a pack of these at Office Depot. The
Yeah.
page holders, and within $3-4, you can keep your character sheets pretty clean. You can keep all your stuff intact, your pencils, everything. It's pretty nerdy, but
No. You do have to have a place to store them and keep them so you don't lose them. I mentioned D&D Beyond because one of the things is you can store them in there and then you can print them off. And in our group, invariably people, I forgot to print mine. I don't know where mine went. I can't find my binder, and so they can reprint them so it's already in there. So that's what's kind of nice, storing it in there. So yeah, that would be our recommendation. But yeah, so anything else you want to say about more about character sheets? Because I have an idea that just came up when you showed me the Larry Elmore picture.
oh, okay.
Well, if anybody in chat has not seen Eye of the Beholder on Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
you totally must watch that. It is recommended viewing. If I could assign homework in this class, it would be that. It is about the artwork of Dungeons and Dragons, and it is amazing. Like the history of where they were and where they're at now, and it has tons of art on it. A lot of the artists are on there. They talk about the artist, and it is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty neat for sure. I loved it.
Yeah.
People maybe next live stream we'll talk a little bit
Yeah. So
along.
Larry Elmore. That's what just got me thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. I met him.
Yeah, whatever. I don't want to hear you dropping names of people you saw. Yeah, oh yeah, I saw Stan Lee. I got my picture taken with my family. Whatever.
I show my family picture with Stan
Yeah,
Lee.
what? No one wants to see that. Oh, come on.
This thing.
Yeah. So
Well,
Overboard DM said he saw it. So he went. He wins the points for. He saw Out of the Beholder.
sweet.
So what do you think about today's artwork, Gonzo?
Oh boy, that's a whole nother live stream. I'm not sure, and this is all across both my mediums, comic books and D&D. It's different, and maybe it's because it's digital mostly, but it's very talented. It's very good. Um, some of it's not as campy as some of the old school stuff. At the same time, the colors to me seem a lot more muted.
Yeah.
Or the color palettes that they use or just don't seem to pop as much as some of the old Keith Parkinson and Larry Elmore and Jeff Easley stuff that's on those old books. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I like
I
it.
don't know either. But those, yeah, it's funny. I just had that conversation with my wife the other day. I was showing her some Easley and Elmore stuff, and I was like, "Look at those colors! I mean, that color, the range of colors, they just pop." And it's just, and I don't know. I just think, I don't know. I grew up in that age. I remember the art. It doesn't seem. I don't remember it being as vibrant as it is. But maybe it's against the backdrop of the more muted colors you're talking about, and the palette just isn't what. But my gosh, the color palette they used was insane.
Yeah. Looking behind you, and you have the Dungeon Master's Guide and Dragon. And look how muted that Dungeon Master, as good as that art is of that demi, it's still all one color palette of purples and grays and whatnot. And back when they were, had to fight for shelf space back then too. So they were creating, trying to get seen, and they would have bright, look at the first player's handbook or the Dungeon Guide with the big red dragon on there or whatever. It was eye catching, but at the same time, the art has gotten so good now. They can do so much with effects and stuff to make things. It's not just a painting. It's pretty amazing what they can do now.
Yeah, it seems like photorealism, like all over the place. A lot of it's just like so realistic looking. And that blows my mind that there's that many artists that can paint like that. But yeah, I agree. The colors are just not what they and if some and I don't know, in some cases the composition, like what the scene even is, like that behind me. You know, it's a dude standing there with a staff. But then you look at some of Easley and Elmore, their stuff is like action, like imminent death, and that and they like and multicolored death coming at you. You know, and of course a lot of dragons and stuff.
Pathfinder does have a higher. Their color palette is like
Yeah.
brighter. It's more old school. It's more action packed. You know, a lot of their scenes are different. So, but generally, that's just it depends on from book to book. The art direction may change a little bit for D&D, and you know. So good art is good art, no matter when it came out, or you know, or whether it's now or 40 years ago. It's still good stuff. So.
No, I agree. Good art is good art. All right.
All right, brother. Yeah, I say we call it a night. We get. I guess we're going to drop our video on Monday about modules. We might as well. We've talked about it, so
Yeah, now that we've kind of told everybody about it.
yeah. Let's do that, and then we'll get back together. If there's not any more questions in the chat, but we'll try to get back together next week. Um, I'm not sure. It won't always be on a Thursday night, like you said, but it just has worked out so far that we do that now. So,
Sounds great.
but
So last week we had a little bit of a technical issue at the end, Gonzo. I don't know if you can realize, but because of the delay, when we said class dismissed and left, it looked like it just chopped off at the end. So we need to hang out a little bit at the end and let it catch up before we get off because it cut the end last time. So everyone was like, oh, "What happened? Did it just go off? Did it?" they thought there was a technical thing.
right. So
Yeah, I think you started swearing or something, and we dumped it. Maybe that was what it was.
that's probably what it
Yeah, that's
was.
probably it. Yeah. Well,
That's your
thanks for everybody coming in the chat there. And we missed Rivers. He went off. He got that guy got to go to bed. And Overboard, good to see you. And Nick and Michael and Critical, Man Ludacy, all these guys that we Logan, we know that guy. And Twinkie, I hope you guys are destroying it there at in your game. And we're glad you all came out tonight. Anything you want to add there, Gonzo, or anything else? Parting words of wisdom, or
parting words of wisdom, not today. Just be good, be grateful for all you have,
yeah.
and we'll see you next.
All right. So I would say with that, class
Class
dismissed.
dismissed. Awesome.